Hey everyone, welcome to Average Joe Preparedness. My name's Rick, and I'm an Average Joe. Okay, today's follow is a follow-up video, and I put together both this is the ending for the LifeStraw and for the hand cracked radio or flashlight, excuse me, by the American Red Cross. Now, I did a little video on both of those saying I was going to test them out. And I did a little hodgepodge things on the LifeStraw, which you'll probably follow here in just a second. I didn't do every day, but I did some just so you guys could see. And so we're going to go over what I found on both those two products. Yes? Yes. Again, I'm going to say it. This is not what I do. I don't do products very often. I did this because of the challenge, 25 bucks. The two of these didn't even come to $25. There was a list, and I picked out these two. And I picked out these two because of what happened in Florida, which now, for what is it, normalcy bias, everybody's like, what happened in Florida? There was a hurricane, and people are still suffering. Okay, by the way, update on my family members. They've gotten their electricity back, they've gotten their water back, everything's back. It goes on and off once in a while, and everything is still trashed, and their house has got to be fixed, and roofing, and water, and the such, but everybody's okay, and they're almost getting back to normal, my family members. So, yeah, update on that. But yeah, there was a hurricane and people are still suffering. Okay, first off, we'll start with this. The LifeStraw. Now, as I said, you're going to see some videos of me. Maybe I'll put them in here in a second. I don't know. Edit your videos better, Rick. No, this is the way of it. So I tested this out and I did it for more than, I said I was going to do it for 7 days. I did it for longer than that. And yeah, I mean, it worked. I didn't end up in the hospital. So, you saw the water I was drinking. The water I was drinking was terrible. When people said that it was hard to drink out of, it did take a little bit more the longer that you use it, the little trying to get the water up in the straw. But once the water goes through, it's pretty easy to drink. I had no issues, and I'm glad that I finally got an opportunity to actually use this. Again, I have them in my bags. I got that new one to replace this one. So I see no issues. I guess the reputation is valid. It's been around for years and years and years, and yeah, I didn't get sick, so take that for what it's worth. Hey, not a medical professional, disclaimer, not a medical professional, not a survivalist, not a water filter person, just telling you what happened. Yes? Okay, and so the proof's in the pudding. How about we put in those little cuts of me using this straw for a few days. I didn't do all of them, I might skip some. You ready? And I'll see you when you get back. Okay, so I figured I would do like dailies, just little ones, and then I'll put them like in one video. So we'll see how that goes. Yes? And to make this more realistic, if we're going to call it that, let me tell you what I'm not doing. What I'm not doing is rinsing off or washing this. When it dries off, I just whooped it like that, and that's it. Because if this was a real situation, there wouldn't be a washing machine, so you could wash this each time to clean it off before you filtered the water. Does that make sense? I hope so. The other thing is the cup. I'm not washing the cup out either. There was like a little, remember when I blew it out? I showed you guys the first time, and some went back in to clean out the filter. I'm not washing it. I just swirled it around and threw it out, and because once again, there's not going to be any clean water for anyone to wash out their equipment. Does that make sense? Yes. So now this is day 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and drink this. And I noticed I watched the video, I turned my back and I was all like this on the other video. I'm sure people got a lot of laughs out of that. So I'm gonna drink this. I'm not gonna make you guys watch me drink the whole thing. And you're gonna see this like, what's this, day 2? So you're gonna see this like 5 more times I'm gonna do it, if that makes sense. I'm gonna learn you should never turn your back to the camera. I guess I should learn that. And I'm going to look and watch, and there's a timer, so I'm going to see this sits there for 10 seconds. I'm going to drink the whole thing. Again, you guys aren't going to have to watch me drink the whole thing. I'm just going to drink a little bit. That's 10 seconds. Not turning my back to the camera. Okay. To get the water going on the first time, I had to do like 6 little, I don't know what you call it, mouthfuls. This one was a little bit more. I think it was more like 8. We'll see what happens if that trends. Yes? And there we go. Now, I don't know, maybe maybe, hopefully, there's somebody out there going, Rick, you're not really doing this, are you? You're really not going to do that for 7 days, drink that water out of that thing. And the answer is yes. And let me tell you why. Because I told you I would. Yes? Anyways, there we go. Filtered it back out. Got that swirly stuff in here. I'm going to get rid of that. Hang this up to dry a little bit, and I'll pop it off tomorrow once it's dry, and we're going to do it again. Yes? See you guys tomorrow. Okay, so it's day 3. And for those of you who were annoyed that I still had this on there, I took that off. So that's the old wrapper, the old instructions. So I've had no ill effects so far. And hopefully today will be no different. Yes? Okay, while I'm doing this today, I figure besides showing you, we could talk about a few things. Yes? Hold on one second, please. Now I notice each day, even though I'm blowing it out to reduce the contaminants or clogging, I have to take more sips. Today was like 9. So I don't know if that's going to continue. We'll find out, yes, with the experiment. But it's usually only on the first one. So the water goes down the straw as they go down straws, but it doesn't seem to go down all the way. I don't know, but so far things are working well. Yes? Yes. Now, something relevant, I guess, is I watched a video on a content creator that I check out once in a while. He's not huge, but he's big. He's bigger than me. Most people are. But he's not one of those huge ones when it comes to the prepper world or whatever. But anyways, he was talking about, he was doing and I'm not mentioning because this may be considered as bad. Not for him, but for the company. But he was comparing two, they call them solar generators. Everybody knows they're not solar generators. They're just basically a battery that charges up and you can use it. And he was talking about how one of the companies got a hold of him and they were going to send him stuff so that he could demonstrate, but they made him sign a contract saying that he couldn't say anything bad. And he was pretty upset about it. And he brought something up. He was like, well, this made me question every single time he's ever seen a prepper video or any video where they actually demonstrate something. He's like, okay, so hold on a second. If I had to sign a contract saying, and he didn't, that nothing was bad, then now it makes you question every time you see anyone who does a demonstration on anything. Does that make sense? I'm drinking this off screen. You guys don't need to see that again. But, yeah, it made sense to me. I was like, I didn't realize that. And so then I'm thinking, oh man, that sucks. How do you know what to believe? So now it's just like commercials and politicians and big business and whatever. But I want to make a point with this. Okay, LifeStraw didn't send me this. And LifeStraw does not need my channel. See what I'm saying? LifeStraw has been around for years. Everybody knows who they are. So, you only have me to believe, but they didn't send me this. And if something goes wrong and I end up in the hospital, I'm going to tell you. Yes? Yes. I want to finish this off real fast. Rick, you should edit your videos better. Sorry, not the way. Day 5. Hey. Day 6, I believe. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that. Little humor, maybe. I don't know how funny they're going to be until I edit this, and then I don't know if they're going to be funny. So, I got this, and I just heard they went on sale. They're probably not on sale anymore, that whole Amazon thing. But for like 12 or 13 bucks, I can't remember which one of these cost 12, which one cost 13 bucks. To have, if you needed to drink terrible water. Now, remember, this is more of a camping, hiking thing. If you want to use this in emergency, again, we focus on basic preparedness, like what FEMA and your states recommend. Camping stuff, which can be used for bigger contingencies. Touch on bigger contingencies, but it's just not my thing of doomsday, whatever. However, camping things can be used in case of a hurricane or an earthquake or a tornado, or take it up the list. Yes? And that if you go backpacking, which is what people do, and camping, and you need to drink some water, I mean, I can't recommend or not recommend, but it worked. Yes. And next is this flashlight, not a radio. This is a flashlight, and this is the one. And let's start into it. First off, this little thing that's supposed to go on your belt. Not a fan of it. It worked, and eventually I got to where I could just, I don't know what you guys want to call it. No, look, I just click it on. I don't know if you guys saw that, and then I drop it. You're like, edit your videos better, Rick. No, I'm not going to. So, because this is the way. This is real life. And so, yeah, eventually I got to where I could just click it on my belt loop and then click it off and take it. So, I got used to that. This is plastic. I mentioned that in the first video. But, yeah, let's go over it. My minute's almost up. Okay, the first thing I did was I turned this thing on when I first got... Ooh, I don't know how bad that is. And it was bright, and I left it on. Oh, man, I had notes, and I forgot it. But I didn't forget what I wrote down. I left it on for 4 hours and 15 minutes till I went to bed that night, and then I turned it off. Now, it wasn't that bright, but it was still usable. And that's without me cranking it. I mean, I just left it on to see how long it would stay on. You with me? Over 4 hours without even doing this little handle thing. So, yeah. The handle, I sat down and I cranked this thing, and I cranked it 1,000 times. It took me about a minute. Plus, I cranked it randomly, but I just decided to give it like a pressure test. Or I don't have like a machine to hook this on. Just let it crank for hours at a time. The handle didn't break. So I know in one span I cranked it 1,000 times. Plus hundreds and hundreds of times over a week of me just cranking this up to see if it would work. Yes? Yes. This little power button, I sat there at one time and I turned it on and off 100 times. Not counting all the other times I did it. And I walked around with it and I used it and I turned it on and off. But literally, I just sat there and went, let's just test this out. I didn't have a machine. You know, it's got a little thing that just sits there and clicks this thing on and off for hours and hours. That was me. So 100 times. And it didn't break. Even though this is plastic, it didn't break. And then finally, I tried to charge my phone. Okay. And yeah, remember that 1,000, I mean, the 1,000 times or when I spun this? Yeah, I did a twofer. So I hooked my phone up to it. My phone was at, I don't know if it'll charge better when it's a lower, but my phone was at 94%, and after 1,000 cranks, it said it was charging. It never went above 94%. I'm sure I mentioned that in one of the reviews that someone said, yeah, charging your phone is not good. Well, my phone was charged. Now, I don't know what would happen if I like plugged it in and I'm cranking it and someone else dialed 911 if they needed to use it. I don't know if I would have spun this thing 1,001 times. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I have no idea. I got nothing. I can only tell you what happened. And what happened was 1,000 cranks, 10 minutes of doing this, and my phone didn't even go up 1%. Said it was charging though. You know how you get that little indicator that says it's charging? But it didn't even do 1% on my phone. So if you're going to use this to charge your phone, if that's your plan, I don't know. You might want to rethink it. And you may not want to depend on it. Again, I can't tell you if your phone's totally dead and you crank this, you can dial 911 while you're cranking it. I don't know, people. But, okay, getting back on point. I don't remember which one of these was 12 bucks and which one was 13 bucks. But let's say this is 12 or 13 bucks. I can't say nothing bad about it except I'm not going to use it to charge my phone, and I wouldn't. So the flashlight works. Nothing broke. And I used it. And I had it clipped on the side. I had it clipped here, thrown in my pockets, and I'm bumping off of stuff. Edit your videos, Rick. Change the camera angle. No, I'm not going to. So I don't know if you can understand. And I bump up against like this counter right here, and I'll be walking and bump up against a chair or a table. Or I wasn't really like hyper cautious that I had this on my hip. It was just on my hip. And I don't know if you guys can hear that. Yeah. What is that? Gives rule number 9? Yeah. So it's bouncing off of that, and it still works. So I can't say anything bad about it. Yes? Yes. Okay, I'm going to put that aside, but this actually brings me up to something. or recommending things or saying, I'm not going to recommend those. I'm not putting my name on those. They have their own names. Okay, it's the Red Cross and it's LifeStraw. I can tell you I used them for a week and I wasn't really careful with them and they worked. So that's what I can tell you. And for 12 to 13 bucks, I don't know, guys. I've got them now. And I mean, I'm not throwing this away. I'm going to end up putting it in a bag or somewhere in case I need, in case of emergency. So now that being said, I don't know when this video is coming out, but what's going on right now in the prepper world, and it has to do with not LifeStraw, but with water purification. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'm trying to stay out of it, but it has to do with Berkey and Berkey filters. Yes? And whether you can trust things. Let's touch base on it for just a second, shall we? Yes. Now, there's this whole thing going on. Someone came out and created some videos. They weren't happy because they cleaned their water and then they found out that Berkey filters weren't, hold on, I wrote it down, NSF certified. And I went out and looked and they're not. So, and supposedly that's the gold standard, blah, blah, blah. But Berkey's got all these private people that said that their water's good, but then people are arguing, well, they only tested like 20 gallons and the thing's supposed to last like 4,000, 10,000 gallons. How do you know? And it didn't actually do what it said it was going to do. There's a couple of lawsuits going on and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, get a schmaggity. Okay, here's the thing. Not taking sides on this one, but I can tell you what I did find. This NSF certified. There are water filters out there that are. And apparently that is for like when they put it in your house, you know, under your sink or the big, huge filter systems that they can put in people's houses. Yeah, they have to be certified. That's the one. That's like the government. If people don't like the government, sorry. But that's like the government one or whatever. That's the one that's accepted by the industry. Yes? Yes. And then people bring up that it is illegal that you can't buy Berkeys in California because they're not NSF certified. And you have to be because it does this thing on lead. So people are like, oh, they won't sell them in California. The reason being is because they aren't NSF certified. And then rumor has it that Berkeley won't get NSF certified because it's very expensive and they'll have to raise the price of their stuff. Okay, Berkey's been almost always the most expensive one anyways. And there's other ones out there, gravity feed ones, the gravity feed filters, that are NSF certified. So if they're NSF certified and they cost less, you go where I'm going with this. So I'm not taking sides. You guys judge for yourself. I'm staying out of the argument. But just know it's out there. And, man, there are some heated people. Let me tell you what. And I almost want to talk about it, but I don't think I will. Yep, let's just try to keep this positive. Yay. Okay, a couple more updates. Because it's getting cold, so, you know, end of gardening season. My potatoes won't die, all right? So I don't know people growing potatoes. Remember, I can't grow them in buckets, but I got some in the raised garden beds, and I put some over here for no good reason whatsoever. I put some back there just to see if they would grow. Those are red potatoes. And, like, these over here, they look like they were dying. I'm clipping them back. I'm like, yay, because when they die, I leave them in the ground for, like, a week, and it helps harden up the skins, or you can take them out and you can store them and whatever. And then it looks like they're on, and then more shoots come up. And it's like a flower bed. I can't get my potatoes to die. But anyways, I got some pumpkins that might make it by Halloween. We're going to find out. I got some tomatoes that look like they may finish off. And I got like a little bell pepper. It's like that big. I planted really late. Don't judge me. But I got a little bell pepper. He's like this big. Growing fast, though. And we'll see what happens. Yes? Yes. Okay, other than that, I'm getting everything ready for winter. Even though it's fall, whatever. But you should be doing things ahead. You guys should be too. Get ready for winter. Yes, winter is coming. And I'd watch the news and see what's going on. You know, this is an election year, the half election year, whatever, not presidential, but for Congress and local places. So, you know, everybody gets heated about that. The economy's not doing so good, even though they say it is. If you guys go shopping, you know how that is. Things are more expensive, and which leads to tension. And we've talked about this before. People are upset, and apparently people are stealing more, and bad thing, and it builds up. So just watch out for yourself. Try to be positive. Yes, always try to be positive. Always. And yeah, let's just finish it there. I hope this finds you well. I hope you are happy. I hope you are positive. And I hope you are being prepared.